Welcome everyone to the ECC Annual PerspECCtives Conference in National Harbor, Maryland. I am joined by Jim Taylor, who's with Ameco, and Jim is Vice President of Operations, and I'm Jeremy Osterberger with BIC Magazine. Jim, how's it going, my friend?
Very good, great to be here. Wonderful conference so far.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We're in our nation's capital here at the ECC conference. I'd be remiss in my duties as the interviewer if I didn't mention your military background, Jim. So tell everybody a little bit about what branch of the military you were in. So.
Sure, yeah, so after college I was in the Army, did a tour with an airborne infantry unit, so did 3 tours in Iraq, and then decided after that to get out and pursue a career in the corporate world, and over the years have kind of found my way here. So this is my 4th ECC. So, you know, come a long way from an infantry officer to being interviewed here today on the ECC stage. So, you know, a great path in life here.
You know, Jim, I think about some of the leadership skills you learned when you're in the military. I'd like to ask you, you know, how does that kind of parlay and transition over into your role at Ameco?
So I think the biggest thing I learned in the military, and that I think has translated the most, I think both above and below what I've been doing, is the overall definition in collaboration of a team. So when you're in the military, you may be in charge of something, and it's your responsibility to take a hill or to take an objective, but at the end of the day, it's the folks around you that know how to do the work, that are the specialists in what they do, and the level of trust that you have to have up and down in order to accomplish those tasks, that you have their back, they have yours, that you've planned things out in the most efficient way, the safest way, and that you have the team collective mind involved in everything that you do. The biggest lesson I learned was, in any group, all of the answers are typically within the people within your organization. It's the leader's responsibility of having those conversations, building that level of trust to get the information out so that the best idea can come forward. And in my case, which is very easy, always surround yourself with people smarter than you, and you're going to have the ability to really pull from people that have diverse experiences, backgrounds, and get the best idea. You use those in kind of a collaborative process to come up with the best path forward. Certainly in the military, there are situations where, excuse me, you have to make a decision immediately, be decisive, and be prepared to make a decision that could be life or death. But when time permits, getting the input and influence from others is the most valuable thing you can do. It gives them credibility, value, trust, and understanding of what the task and the purpose is, and it allows everyone to collectively move out together to accomplish a common goal.
And having that confidence to make that call, knowing that, hey, you got all the data you can. Not everything is riskless,
right?
But if you can reduce your risk by getting that feedback and executing, that's the path forward. So, well, thanks for sharing that a little bit, Jim. I appreciate that.
Sure.
And thank you so much for your service.
Oh, thank you. So,
Jim, let's flip over to the task at hand, which is talking about where we are in the construction, maintenance, execution of projects, and of course Ameco plays a big role in that, with many projects in the energy and chemicals sector that have been pushed out and delayed. Jim, my question to you is, I mean, how is Ameco reacting to this market shift as it relates to scaffold and other construction indirects?
Sure, so I think one thing we started looking at was, typically we were doing what many of the companies in this region and this industry do, is very heavily focused on petrochem, oil and gas. I think what we've seen over the past couple of years is there's been a little bit of a downturn there. So we've been very agile and have pivoted to look at other industries that seem to be kind of up and coming right now and taking over that void. So they've included power generation. So you have a lot of power facilities coming on to accommodate demand, just from domestic demand, as well as the data centers that are coming on board that are drawing a tremendous amount of power. So into both of those sectors, power gen, data. Another sector that we really have attacked heavily over the past 2 years is pharma. So anything from, you know, just prescription drugs, research technology, those kinds of things. There's been a litany of those that have come up, so I think that's been an advantageous growth area for us over the past couple of years. So what we try to do there is really cater our offering to those customers. In some, you're dealing with contractors that aren't used to doing these large EPC projects. Some are used to doing, you know, in the millions or hundreds of millions, and now all of a sudden they've been thrust into a position to do a billion-dollar project. So what Ameco does from an indirect site services, we try to come in and give them the data, the influence, and the planning to plan out all of their major construction equipment, come up with a common plan for their tools, supply, consumables, PPE, particularly those in the Gulf Coast, come up with a hydration solution for them so that the workforce can be hydrated, stay safe, and keep productive during the day. Temporary facilities, both for your on-site management team and or your permanent management team that's moving to the site ahead of commissioning. So those are the kind of things that we've looked at, is trying to really plug into that 30-35% indirect space of any construction project and provide as many solutions as possible for cost and schedule certainty.
Jim, when y'all operate, are you operating direct with the owner-operators, or is it also through the EPC firms? Talk about the way y'all sort of attack a project. Yes.
So really it's both. So we do have contracts right now that are directly with the owner. We have a variety of others with the contractor. So really our goal is to get in as early as we can. We think we offer the most value and the most cost savings advantages by getting involved early, using our over 80 years of experience now, 75 years with Fluor, and then around 4 now as a privately held company, using that data and experience of managing large, complex mega projects from an indirect perspective, getting in early and planning down to the detail what pieces of equipment you need when, putting them into a schedule, making sure that we're coordinating with constructability, that this is the equipment needed when. And then really I think we do some pretty unique things with tools, dollar per hour, that really allows you to get cost certainty down to the penny. And try to provide the level of tooling that each customer is needed, but very niche to their specific needs, fully customizable, exactly what they're looking for, to the type of tools they want, to the logos on their hard hats, the logos on their vest, and the specific glove they want. So try to do that ahead of time, and we can really leverage our supply chain, get some, really push our buying power there and get the best deal that we can then pass on to our customers.
Jim, so much of a successful project is scaffold and access. Talk about your integrated scaffold solution and tell us more about some of the advantages, maybe just for large capital projects, but not just large capital projects. Where else can that solution really provide value to a client?
Sure, so I think in the past we were heavily leveraged on our large, complex mega projects. So we're currently on the largest project in investment in Canadian history, providing scaffold material, scaffold design. We've done several other mega projects throughout the United States and Canada where we've been providing the scaffold design and material only. But I think the major advantage of bringing Ameco in is we'll come in early. Our goal is typically to come in, work with our customers somewhere at the 30% model complete, start planning your scaffolds in the 3D environment. Major scaffolds are done. As you work through 60% complete, we start looking out into some of the other ancillary areas, looking at some of the other trades. But ultimately the goal is, by the time you're 90% model complete, we have 80% of your major scaffolds completed. At that point, we're coordinating with your advanced work package team, and we're seeing great success now where we have scaffold planned down all the way to the field installed work package level. Material is kitted out in our scaffold yards before the day it's going to be erected, delivered to the erection site with a 3D scan that the craft can actually look at where does every leg need to go. Clash detection has been completed. Every piece of scaffold material required is right there, and it really minimizes the amount of time spent in the field building it, so you're saving a significant amount of money. And traditionally on these larger EPC oil and gas jobs, scaffold encompasses 18% of your direct field labor, which constitutes multi-millions of dollars worth of your budget. We're trying to bring that down 25% or more in cost, as well as adding safety. And particularly post-COVID, you've seen a reduction in craft personnel. Very hard to come by craft personnel, and you have a wide swath of projects now opening up, not just in the Gulf Coast and in those energy corridors. They're now closer to major metropolitan cities, a little bit more attractive in some cases for craft workers. So what we're trying to do is not only bring that cost down, we're also minimizing the exposure of having to go out and hire as many people. So instead of hiring 100, maybe you only have to hire 75. So all of the other indirect costs that are associated there, you don't have to spend: transportation, restrooms, water, tools, PPE, reducing those costs as well. And then what we've done recently on smaller projects, and it doesn't necessarily have to be several million, but hundreds of millions into a couple of billion, something that Ameco hasn't done in the past is now we're offering scaffold design, scaffold material rental, and scaffold labor. So what Ameco did several years ago is we invested in Perry scaffold material. It is the most efficient, safest material on the market. Largest owner in North America, Ameco, so we own the most and have a very close relationship with the OEM in Perry. But what we decided to do was trying to put a little bit of put our money where our mouth was, in terms of, we say we can save this amount of money for you. We wanted to be able to show it and substantiate it in what we do. So now we've added a labor component. So we have contracts in the pharma space, advanced manufacturing, where Ameco is the sole provider of scaffold material on a site. We coordinate with all of the site level contractors, the CM group, the construction teams, and the disciplines for all scaffold requests. We manage the scaffold schedule, the erection and dismantle schedule, and are responsible for full turnkey service of scaffold across an entire project site, and we're seeing great results there, been recognized for the most productive, most efficient, most safe. So at this point, one of the things that we've done to pivot is adding scaffold labor into our repertoire and offering that to our customers as an added service, but also to prove the value that we're saying that we can offer them in our innovative scaffold solution.
So Jim, Ameco's always looking for new service offerings. What's on the horizon? What other investments have you made in solutions to add to your arsenal?
Sure, yeah, so we've had a few as of late, and part of this is part of the pivot here, and we're looking at what do the customers need. I think that's the number one question we always ask ourselves. What does the customer want? And two things that have come to mind as of late is some modular buildings. So we've been very successful there. Modular buildings, fully customizable, flat pack, so you can ship multiple buildings on one flatbed. So not only is it a savings in terms of your cost for shipping, which has still been relatively high as of late, it also reduces your carbon emissions, so it's a sustainable movement there. You're not moving one trailer at a time with a wide load, permanent load. You can move multiple, one trailer and then build them at site. And I think one of the most innovative things we're doing right now is something we're calling Ameco Connect. So it is a live platform, real-time based. It allows us to track all of our tools, the utilization, what types of tools are going out to what disciplines on a live dashboard, fully customizable to every customer, so can customize it to exactly what you want to see. If it's utilization you want to focus on, is it overall cost, is it all of those things, but we cater that to the customer. What do they want to see on a daily basis? Pull up on a dashboard and they can track in real time all of those analytics. The other thing it allows us to do is reserve and on and off rent equipment, but just allows us to have a competitive advantage here and bring ourselves into the next level here by having an online platform that our customers can directly engage, look at daily, and really help track their own budgets as well. Certainly we're there to help do that, but that then corresponds with our telematics system, so we can look at equipment from a safety perspective, who's wearing seatbelts, who's not. Geofence it, is this vehicle on the proper location of the project area where it's supposed to be? And then the big thing there is utilization. If you've got 10 units, all of the same type on a site, we can look at utilization, and maybe you're only 50% utilized. We can go to our customer and say, hey, at this point, we would recommend taking several of these off rent, cross-leveling these across the board, and you're going to save a little bit of money there. So just bringing the analytics, the details into it. We've done a good job on the scaffold side. The tooling side is now really coming into play there. And then on the equipment side, same thing. Telematics, data tracking, safety, efficiency, productivity, utilization. So really trying to bring all of that data forward so that we can offer our customers the best solution and let them make the decisions they need to make with the best information possible that's been made available to them.
Well, Jim, we know your time is limited. Yeah. I'm going to wrap up. I'll just ask you one last question.
Sure.
Closing out ECC here, it's the last day. What are some takeaways from the conference, things that you learned?
So I think it's always good to validate kind of what you're seeing in the market. So I think everybody here is seeing that shift. So you get a little bit nervous of, are we seeing what everyone else is seeing? And I think the one major takeaway here that I always get from this conference is, despite what company everyone works for, you have owners, you have major EPC contractors, mid-level, small, specialty, everyone kind of provides the same level of transparency and information here. It feels like everyone's on the same team trying to provide the same goal. So while we may be competitors tomorrow and contractor and subcontractor the next day, when you're here, everyone's trying to bring the industry forward. So that to me is the biggest takeaway. It's all trying to help each other out. I think it's high tides raise all boats. Sure. If we can all make ourselves better, despite the fact that tomorrow I may be competing against you for the next contract, we're all trying to do the right thing for our industry. We're all trying to do the right thing for the future. As you look at, you've got some very young people that are starting to come into it, trying to set the example for them. You've got some other folks here that are probably on the twilight, on their way out to doing greater things on retirement.
Right.
There's the pass the torch things that are occurring here.
Yep.
But it tends to be one of those very collaborative, transparent team events that, despite where you are in that value chain, everyone's together with a common goal, and I think that's probably something different than what you typically see at these conferences, where it tends to be a lot more closed off, very open, very collaborative, no walls, no fences. Everyone's really willing to work together, and I think that's an extremely valuable thing this day and age.
Well, Jim, thanks again for your time. You're always welcome back to jump on with BIC Magazine, and always grateful for our friendship and for you joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Jim.
Yep.